And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are broadcasting live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Detroit Tigers have won 3 in a row, got things back on track. We had a real rough little go there, but back up 9 games in division. Need to pick up some pieces before trading deadline. That's why I
got some work to do.
Got some work to do. The deadline is just shoot.
I think it's tomorrow.
Deadline's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's pick it up.
Eyes peeled on the Tigers today. Then need to have that. Have those moves ready to go. We'll see what happens. Ian Safar, what's going on? How we doing?
Oh, doing great. How are you guys? How was camp yesterday, Joe? Pads, hit them pads, huh?
Yeah,
smacking.
Just really, really great practice.
Glad to hear it.
It was just awesome,
outstanding,
awesome. I will say, good crowd. I was impressed with the Titan fan turnout yesterday.
That's good.
Yeah, on a very, very hot day. So that was good to see.
Well, and we know, the football season, it begins tomorrow. There's a game tomorrow.
Yeah,
in the National Football League. Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and the Lions, which every time the Hall of Fame game comes around, it's a yearly tradition. We get to see that fake punt that the Titans pulled off in 2009, which I guess apparently is the greatest moment in the history of the Hall of Fame game. I mean, they show it every year when they start trying to promote this thing.
What other moments might be on?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you another single moment from the Hall of Fame game.
The time when the field turf got all messed up. What time was?
And they couldn't play the game? Yeah.
Oh,
that wasn't that long ago, was it?
That was right.
And they had that big guy Baker on the TV.
Yeah. Hey, see, Ian's
There's
all in
two.
for the Hall of Fame.
There's
game.
2.
There we go.
Nice. One of them involving no
game.
Yeah. I'm excited. I will say, Trey Lance, I'm interested. I kind of forgot. I had no idea he was with the Chargers. So apparently he's starting it. And I do hope that Hendon Hooker gets at least half the game with the Lions. And I'm not done. I am not conceding on Hendon Hooker at this point. I understand that not much has gone on here with him, but I'm not conceding that he can't be a good player in the NFL. So I'm very interested to see if he can put together a good performance.
Based on last year and what he did in the preseason, like Trey Lance playing in the preseason could be pretty interesting. Remember that game last year where he threw for like 300 yards and also threw for 5 interceptions?
They were throwing picks all over the place.
Everywhere. It's like, wow, you never know what's going to happen when Trey Lance drops back to throw the football.
It sounds more entertaining than most preseason football.
I have no idea what the Lions are going to do, but if it's Lance versus Hooker for the majority of the game, okay, that's better than some of the Hall of Fame games we've seen in the past.
Yeah, you're talking about, you're talking about obviously a guy who went at the top of the draft, another guy who, ended up going in the 3rd round, but nearly a Heisman winner or certainly should have been a Heisman finalist. What's funny is I was thinking doing a different story on related to LSU, and I was thinking about, God, man, that day at Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, it was Hendon Hooker against Jaden Daniels, and the Vols just destroyed LSU. Now, a lot of that had nothing to do with Jaden Daniels, but at that point, despite that, it didn't have much. Like that point, there's not a person in the world who would have said Jaden Daniels is a better NFL prospect than Hendon Hooker. Not a person in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing how things can change.
It is.
Here was a stat last year from that game. So the Cowboys played the Chargers. So Trey Lance with the Cowboys in the preseason. 33 of 49. They threw the ball 49 times in a preseason game for 323 yards, 90 yards on the ground, and a touchdown, and 5 picks. He threw for 323 yards, ran for almost 100, and threw 5 picks.
That's just fun.
It's unbelievable.
That's just a lot of fun, is what that is.
More of that, Trey.
Yeah.
Get it going at the Hall of Fame game.
Let's see some more of it. My goodness.
So if you've been waiting for football to start, technically, I guess tomorrow it does. So be ready for that. We'll keep you updated. I'm sure Rexrode is going to be locked into every snap of the Hall of Fame game coming up tomorrow.
I know that, before kid number 2, he's a couple weeks from moving off to college, the TV will be on the Lions.
Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
A mighty team that will not yield.
Joe, some tragic news that we did not touch on yesterday, and since it went down a couple of days ago, more information has now come out. There was a gunman in Manhattan that unfortunately has killed 4 people. But apparently, Joe, according to the reporting around this and from the officials, he was targeting the headquarters of the NFL. So he went into an office building where the headquarters of the NFL are, apparently took the wrong elevator, which is what the officials said yesterday, and then went on a shooting spree there that ended up in the result of the death of 4 people. So obviously, that in NFL circles, that has made the rounds yesterday of people discussing that. Apparently this shooter claimed that he had CTE and wanted his brain to be looked at after all this. So there's a lot that also goes into that part of it as well. But obviously a really scary and tragic situation in Manhattan with all this and the NFL offices being involved.
Yeah, terrible. The CTE claim, he asked for his brain to be studied. He had a 3-page note. He mentioned Terry Long, who died by suicide in 2005, diagnosed after his death with CTE. He also mentioned a documentary on, the direct quote from the note is, quote, "Study my brain, please. I'm sorry." And he's in this building with an assault rifle. So 4 very tragic, 4 people killed, including a police officer. I will, credit to someone we've talked about on this show before in a less crediting way, but Dave Portnoy, I see, is like raising a lot of money for the police officer's family, which is, great to see, but just a terrible situation, bringing together two things that are frequent stories in this country, which is gun violence and CTE in football. So scary stuff. And I know Roger Goodell is scary and tragic stuff. And Roger Goodell, I guess, is keeping their office closed at least through the end of next week.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm not an expert. I don't know how they ended up determining that he got on the wrong elevator there. I'm sure there's some security footage and all this other stuff that they saw, but just kind of crazy stuff there. And regardless of where he was going, the death of 4 people is just awful there. So,
yeah, I know I've seen a couple of things, a couple of young women who are like young lawyers, just trying to go to work. So, but obviously the football connection there. I mean, I'm sure more will come of this in the days to come too.
Yep. So just wanted to pass along the latest on that because that has been a major story around not only NFL, but around our country the last couple of days. So that's the latest info that we've got on that. We'll keep you up to date if anything else should come out about that situation as well. Joe was out at practice yesterday for the Titans. We're going to get into several of his observations and what he saw out at what was apparently a not very good day from the offense and Cam Ward yesterday. I know, I heard a little bit of D Mace yesterday, and he talked about Cam Ward and the processing and how basically it looked like he was playing at college speed and that was going to be a problem if that continued, which of course, Joe, led to basically 4 hours of Stilla yesterday screaming about Cam Ward and how the processing's slow. And if it continues to go down that way, the Titans need to put him on the bench and start Brandon Allen next year, which generated a lot of reaction. But we're going to get, kind of step by step into what you saw yesterday. But just generally, as we get started on that conversation, what did you make of Cam Ward and the offense yesterday, and how concerning was it?
Yeah, that probably had 2 big takeaways, and the obvious one is that one. And yeah, I guess I would agree with D Mace. I mean, there were a few things that happened in some of these plays. Cam Ward was bad. No question. He was bad yesterday. First day in pads. Now, I know I don't remember if this one resulted in a pick or it was almost a pick. I believe it looked like Chig was supposed to sit down against the zone and thought maybe they were in man. He kept running a route. And so I think that may have been the issue on one. But yeah, he was late. He was off target. He actually, I thought he made a couple of good decisions on on deep balls. Then he just overthrew him, just overshot him. And then, there was one where he's going on a deep out to Josh Wiley, and it's just, he's just late with it, and it's just an easy pick. And I forget who got the pick, but it was just one of those. Just see the ball and just cut in front and easy pick. It was just like, man, that's a bad one. And just off target on some other throws too that you got to have. I mean, I think that's another beyond the mistakes and giving the ball away, which obviously you don't want to do, but picks in camp with quarterback, especially a rookie, you expect some of that. Just some of the stuff he was off target on was surprising too. It's like just some kind of gimme throws. One day, I mean, if that was my only, time watching Cam Ward, I wouldn't think he was very good, but it's one day of practice. And I will say that certainly yesterday, and this is all decided by the coaching staff. So it'll be interesting today if they do it differently. But certainly yesterday, Brian Callahan said, Denard Wilson, let her rip. Send different stuff. Go ahead. Throw the kitchen sink at the rookie. And they did. They were bringing pressure from all over the place. They were moving guys all over the place. And so that was certainly part of it. You could tell. I mean, it was affecting him. And there were times when I think that he was confused. Maybe what he saw pre-snap wasn't what he saw right after the snap. So It was one of those, baptism by fire days for a rookie quarterback.
So not a very good day at camp yesterday and the first day of pads for Cam Ward. We'll take your thoughts on that. We'll get Rexrode's thoughts a little deeper in what he saw and what we think it means for Cam Ward as he moves forward here. We'll get into all that next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Cam Ward, apparently not very good at Titans training camp yesterday. Rexrode was out there. We'll get some of his thoughts and observations. Here's what PK said yesterday. Said Cam Ward had some nice moments at the stadium on Saturday, and he had some bad moments at practice on Tuesday. It's a young quarterback going through the ups and downs. Advisable to expect more of the same rather than running to anoint him as something that he's not. Not yet, anyway. That's from Kuharski yesterday on Twitter. You know, we've talked about this a lot. There are probably going to be some days in camp where he looks pretty darn good, and probably going to be some days in camp that he looks bad. Was yesterday, you think, just one of those days, or is there more to it that you're concerned about after having watched it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those days. I think today's pretty important. Just you don't want to like have triple pick days back to back, right? So I think today's important to kind of, it's just like everything. So he's going to look at that film, and this is also, actually, this is where I was actually complaining yesterday on the show, and then when I was hanging out with some of the Titans writers yesterday too, I was like, it kind of sucks, right? Like that. After this, there's no Callahan.
Yeah.
Like Callahan talks before. I mean, when there's something that's really notable, and I think this counts in practice, and then you don't have the head coach after that. But I will say, to this morning, probably a lot of Callahan's presser will be about Cam's performance.
Correct.
And they will have gone through the film and stuff. So I guess from that perspective, maybe there could be a little bit more insight, and he will have talked to Cam. Cam also talks today, by the way, after practice.
And by the way, you can hear Brian Callahan's press conference on our show today around 7:40. I'm going to say around 7:40.
Yeah.
We'll see when it happens.
It's scheduled for 7:40. He was late yesterday, so we'll see if he can be prompt today.
We'll see.
But, yeah, it was not a great day. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, my God, what have they done? That's silly. He's had good days, too. It is funny because someone on the text line here is K-Dod's like, I wish Levis would have been there to have a good day to really get, Stillman all worked out. It wouldn't have just been Stone. It would have been other people. I will say this. Brandon Allen, looked good yesterday. So even and actually boiled. Again, what I watch was team. And by the way, I missed the early stages of practice. We were doing the show. Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle both actually look better than Cam Ward yesterday. But again, let's remember, they're not running against the one's defense, et cetera, et cetera. But they got the ball out fast, and they were more accurate. So take that sample size. Cam Ward, QB3.
Yes.
Wow.
Not better than Tim Boyle.
Pick number one, QB3
yes.
for the worst team in the league. Congratulations. Yeah. It's not, of course it's not anything to panic about. I think it was definitely, to me, from a coaching perspective, you might be kind of like, there we go. That's perfect. Because you want to try to shake things up and really make it tough for him and make him see. And this is not going to be easy, man. This is not college football. It's not at all. There's some things you did in college. These dudes are going to pick you off. And by the way, that pick, it was Chig, I think, on a bad route, and it was James Williams with that pick on that play for the record.
Well, I heard what D-Mace had to say. And again, we talked about the processing part of it. I don't love to hear that, obviously. If he's not processing quickly out there, that's not great. Now, he's also a rookie quarterback, and it's the first day in pads yesterday with an NFL defense. So I don't know that I'm willing to also say after one day that, he just can't process at that level right now. Let's give it some time here. And if you respond, if he comes out there today and lights it up, number one, it'd be good to see him bounce back. But I won't go too far the other way either. I think you have to expect some of this in training camp with a rookie quarterback. That some days he's going to look pretty good, and some days it's going to be bad. And you're hoping that through the totality of it, there's pretty significant improvement there.
And I'm definitely not arguing with D-Mace on processing. I looked at it, though, a little bit more like they were aggressive. They were sending different pressures. They were jamming receivers. They were taking away option one. And so I think a lot of times just what he wanted to do was not there. And then, obviously you have to be fast going to option 2, and then you got pressure. I think at times it was probably a little bit more that the defense crossed him up than like just general slow processing.
Yeah.
Now, what happens from a coaching perspective on a day like today, potentially, is it's a much easier day from the defense, and it's a confidence building day for Cam Ward. And it's like, okay, I see it all. Boom, I got time. Here we go. Lasers all over the field. Like that would be, I think, what a lot of coaches would do. So we'll see if that's what they do today, or if they keep throwing the kitchen sink at him and just say, hey, let's just make it
figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, that first game is at Denver, man. There's going to be people in your face in that game.
Yeah. Lenny wondering if they're selling Brandon Allen jerseys yet at the Titans Pro Shop. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure you can find one. If you want one, you can get you a Brandon Allen jersey.
Probably not.
Yeah, and if you get it, if it just says Allen, it could work. Because who is the Chargers?
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen is also, and who knows, he could end up here someday. So it could be one of those.
I think he's with Detroit.
They're both journeyman backups,
yeah.
So you never know. That could work. KDOT also on this does ask, and by the way, again, you guys are the ones bringing him up. I mean, like every day on the text line, it's always like, you guys need to rip Jared for this or that. And I'm like, well, our job is not to sit here and rip Jared for everything he said. I didn't even hear it.
Sometimes we enjoy doing it. But
sure. Yeah. Sometimes you do have to do it, but like we don't. Some people think that like this is our job and you bring him up. But he asked if Stillman was at practice or was he going off other words. Stillman was at practice. I did not see him talking to any players afterward. I did see him. He was talking to him for a long time. Bert Nihill appeared to be explaining football to him for a long time on the sideline. So hopefully that'll pay off on the show, on the program.
Sure.
Maybe it did yesterday.
Maybe so. I mean, I did see TD's tweet about how maybe it's going to snow in July.
Yeah,
Jared was out there.
TD taking swipes.
Yeah, it was
on
good.
Social media. My goodness,
it was good. Yeah, we'll see how he responds today. Obviously, you don't want too many days in training camp of your number one pick at quarterback struggling to the level which apparently he did yesterday. So we'll see if there's some level of bounce back in his game today. But, I mean, the one thing that you can look at if you're a Titans fan right now that I think you do start to raise your eyebrows at, it seems like he's throwing a lot of picks. Seems like there's a lot of interceptions that are happening in training camp right now. Again, is that the world's biggest deal at the end of the day in camp? Probably not. I think it's overblown sometimes, but you also don't love it. Like there's a lot of picks that are being thrown by Cam Ward right now.
Right. Like, yes. And so there are stats, and of course we can count on our buddy Jimmy Wyatt to always have the updated stats. He'll have the full, stat line. And I know yesterday it was just really bad overall too. Like the overall numbers were bad.
Yep.
The number I would say that like in the next few weeks, you definitely would want to see like the interception rate, whatever that is. It's pretty high right now.
Yeah.
You'd like to see the interception rate go down some.
Said Cam Ward 5 of 9 and 7 on 7s and 6 of 17 in team periods, 11 of 26 in Tuesday's session, according to Jim Wyatt.
It's not very good.
Picked off 3 times.
Yeah, it's a tough day. That is a tough day. No doubt. But yeah, I agree with you. It's the picks. First of all, picks happen in camp. We've talked about it before. Yes, the year that Ryan Tannehill, as a 12th year veteran, was throwing picks. Yes, that was just a guy. That's what he was. He was taking some risks. Didn't mean anything. Really didn't. It was the same guy that played the year before. But a rookie, that can be recognition, right? That can be just that you're not caught up to things. The game speed is too fast. All those things are possible. When it's a veteran who has skins on the wall, who has proven he play in the league, I don't care at all about it. With this, you like to see it go down a little bit moving forward.
We'll continue to get some of Rexrode's takeaway from Titans camp, including a player that we spent a whole lot of time talking about this offseason that Rexrode's got a hot take on. I'm looking forward to it coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and fantasy football right around the corner. You can stay cool under pressure at Twin Peaks with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish, and additional $5 bonus card for every other drafter. It's the place to be for your fantasy football draft experience. You can call to book your draft party today at the Twin Peaks in Cool Springs or Madison locations, or visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. You can kick off football season at Twin Peaks, their ultimate draft party headquarters. Again, the place to be. They've got great food, great drink specials. Check it out and get your draft party scheduled today at Twin Peaks. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tune in to ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Nashville Sounds take on Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Pre-game beginning at 5:20, first pitch at 5:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Going through the first day of padded practice yesterday for the Tennessee Titans. Not a very good day for Cam Ward in the offense. Taking your thoughts on that at 615-737-1025. But, Joe, you had another big takeaway from Titans camp yesterday that could be very encouraging to Titans fans.
Yeah, so my biggest take from yesterday, I know Cam Ward is the focus every day, but I still, this is the biggest impression I got from yesterday. And it was before I even watched him take a snap because I looked out and I said, who's wearing 98? Who's the tight end wearing 98 right now? And then I watched him take some snaps. And I think sometimes, this is something. And you know what? Titans writers who are out there every day, they could disagree with me. But I do think sometimes when you are away and it's a long period of time, you know how it is. It's like at home, Katie may not totally appreciate all the iron I'm pumping. I may not see how buff I am and stuff.
But when Kuharski comes in,
then someone visits, then they're like, "Whoa, look, you are a stud!"
Like when Kuharski comes in and immediately compliments your physique, it feels good.
Exactly.
He doesn't see you every day.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'm just taking a video over here.
Pay no attention. Pay no attention to the man with the camera."
But I was like stunned. I was like, okay, I know everybody's talking about he slimmed down. But not only is he slimmed down, let me tell you something. Jeffrey Simmons is in line right now to have a monster year. I'm going to give you that hot take off one freaking practice.
Okay.
But I've watched Jeffrey Simmons practice every single year. I mean, this is the first camp that I'm not covering on a daily basis with the Titans. I've covered all his camps, all his practices, and all that stuff. And he's been a great player, a good player, a very good player, whatever. He has put himself in position to have a monster year because he is visibly, noticeably quicker. There is no question that changing his body like this has helped him. Now, there is certainly the question of, do you sacrifice any power in that? Based on yesterday, as he's making Titans offensive linemen look like children, I don't think so. So again, I don't want to overhype this. It's one guy, but we've spent a lot of time on this show, certainly on this station, but I think in Nashville media at large too, criticizing him, rightfully so, on some things. And the thing with Andrew last year was absolutely ridiculous. And some of his social media stuff is ridiculous. And he's not a full-fledged in every way perfect leader. Just telling you, I don't question the work he did this offseason after watching him yesterday, and I think he might be one of those guys who gets, who really makes some noise this year in the NFL. Then talked to him afterward, and there were some interesting things in this little conversation here that we can get into on a few different topics, including leading.
We want guys on the field that can rush the passer. I think we're doing a great job of rotating guys to be able to have that versatility, especially with Arden. Arden been rushing inside his whole career. San Fran, Jacksonville. So now to be able to come inside and, quite frankly, I think probably every game last year that they know I'm getting a slide. Now it's like I got a guy backside, no matter if it's Sweat or Arden. And, that's one of the things I've been honing in on Sweat. Like, everything got to be faster for you. It's year two. The game should slow down a little bit for you. Now, go win. Same thing with Arden. Arden know that if he getting a one-on-one, I'm not being nice to Arden. And that, we talked about that personally. We talked about it in the offseason that I have to push him because we know he's going to be inside with me. I'm going to need him to be able to go win on one-on-ones. Vice versa. If he get a slide, he can count on me to go win on one-on-one. So,
how was being slimmed down paying off for you?
I feel great, man. It's like I said, kind of, you hear it every year, like it's the best shape that guys been in. They come into the season and say, this is the best shape I've been in my life. But chewing on it like this, probably the best I've felt all my years of playing football. And, it's just the healthy side of it. I feel light on my feet. I'm able to do things that I used to do, when I was a little lighter. Now I just feel like I got kind of the juice back in my steps and stuff in that nature. So when I'm able to feel that way, when I'm able to feel that and be able to move how I want to move, but also, y'all saw we were doing inside run. I'm also still know that I'm doing everything I need to do to stay strong and keep my strength. I'm able to sit in there on a 600, 700-pound double team when you got JC and Zyler in there. So it's like one of the things where you get, I feel great. And that's what my goal was this offseason, to come in, stay healthy for my team, and, be the best I could be.
Mentally, are you different at all?
My mentality never changes. When I step on the football field, it's a kill mindset. like I said, like I said, in the middle of the plays, we kind of talk about it after the play, but Zay letting them know, Peter them know, it's no hard feeling. But in between other lines is not FU, but like it's football. But my mindset, man, is I have one of them mindset. I don't care who it is, who across from me, line them up, let's play football.
That was Jeffrey Simmons yesterday.
That was Jeffrey Simmons yesterday. So I thought some interesting stuff about not being nice to Arden anymore, which I thought was
nice.
Kind of funny. Yeah, like were you nice to him before? So I got people already saying, K-Dod, you just jinxed everything. I understand, and I also get this. Jared on the YouTube chat is asking about what's the offensive line. Your professional opinion of the offensive line. Oh, so this means the offensive line is buns again. Well, look, I think Kevin Zeitler. He's old enough that it's at some point you're going to fall off. So, I mean, that's possible. Kevin Zeitler is a very good football player. He has been a very good football player in this league. He's having some trouble with Jeff Simmons. Peter Skoronski, I think, looks good out there. I think he's at least going to be a solid player for the Titans this year. And I think it might have been the last rep of ones. I mean, Jeff Simmons just bowled him over, but it was kind of like, it wasn't like straight on bull rush. It was like, because he made this little move and then he sort of sidestepped him and dropped him at the same time. So I'm not saying this doesn't mean bad things for the offensive line. It could. But also, like, we have seen Jeff Simmons play at a high level, right? Like, even before I saw this, I would have told you that's the best football player on the team. That's what he is. He's the best football player on the team. So I just think he stands out, and I think what he's done, if this whole conversation about Jeff Simmons got to get more sacks, if that's a real priority for the team, and that's what they need him to finish more plays and be more than just a guy who pushes the pocket and helps others make plays. Well, he has done the right things to make that happen. I'm not sitting here telling you he's going to get 12 sacks this year, but he has done the right things to give him a little extra quickness on that first step and a little bit more ability to be agile and use that against people. So I would be optimistic if I was a Titans fan right now about Jeffrey Simmons and all the other stuff that's happened. It happened. He hasn't been perfect, but I also do think sometimes maybe people go a little overboard with the Simmons criticisms.
Probably
when you take everything into account.
I would agree with that. Now, I also, again, I've said this before, and I'll say it now, particularly if what you're telling me is true and he's in really good shape. I don't want to hear a word about double teams this year. I don't want to hear that phrase come out of his mouth.
No doubt.
This year, like, it is time. It's time to get out there and play at an elite level, and we have seen him do it at times before. Frankly, it's been a minute since we've seen him do it. So, look, I hope everything you're saying, like, if you're a Titans fan, you need it. Like, you need Sweat and Simmons, that combo, to be really good. But specifically with Simmons, you need him to be a dominant player. So let's go see it. That's where I'm at with Simmons. All that sounds great. And, I have no doubt, and really have never had any doubt, that Jeffrey Simmons works hard and that he is motivated and he wants to be great. And now he has changed his body to a point where there's more quickness to it. So that's awesome. All that sounds great. Let's go see it. I don't really want any of the excuses this year for double teams and what's around him. Let's go see it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Like any good interior defensive lineman gets double teamed unless some of these defenses have too many guys, and so you have to make tough choices. And unfortunately for Jeff, the Titans still don't necessarily have that many guys who are going to make other teams make tough choices. He's the obvious choice. And I'm suspecting that if he's staying healthy and he's in this kind of shape and starts the season out, if he wasn't going to get double teamed by anyone, the way he'll play, that'll guarantee it. Is he going to get enough help? Because it still is. He is the guy. He's the one who's paid the money and all that stuff. But that is still a huge question. Like, is Sweat going to be more disruptive and effective and impactful this year? Arden Key is Arden Key. Arden Key is Arden Key. It was interesting yesterday, some of the stuff they were doing with Arden Key lining up actually inside of Jeff.
Yeah.
So They're trying different things, but that's still like, is there enough help? And if there isn't, I agree. When it comes down to it, he's the guy. I mean, he's the guy who has the star contract, the star status. So he's just got to do it. And I agree. The excuses when it doesn't happen have long ago fallen on deaf ears.
Well, and he doesn't have to win every time. Like, you're not going to beat the double team every time. I think we all know that. But
sure,
the best defensive linemen in this league get double teamed, and they find a way to overcome it. So need to see more of that from Jeffrey Simmons this year. But everything you said is great. That's awesome. Like, if you're a Titans fan, that is music to your ears that he looks the way that he looks right now. So you love to hear it. Now then, of course, the follow-up is, what exactly does that mean for the offensive line? You saw something else from the offensive line yesterday that we'll get into coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. You can help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, just visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615, sponsored by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out on for their handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Joe, when the pads come on, as we know, that's when we really start to take a look at offensive linemen, defensive linemen, how things are going in the trenches. And apparently a pretty intriguing matchup yesterday at Titans practice as it relates to the offensive line and defensive line. What did you see yesterday at Titans practice?
Well, overall, I would say, because there's definitely a lot of questions about the offensive line. Overall, one thing I would say is I thought Dan Moore looked pretty good at left tackle. But the interesting thing is a lot of the matchups were Dan Moore against Femi Oladejo, which is like, it's like, so if Dan Moore looks good, yeah, he's going against a rookie who's barely started to play. I mean, I guess if you flip it around, if Oladejo gets the better of him, you certainly could be the optimist and say, oh, man, did they get themselves a gem? But it's probably not what you want. I would say take it to just Oladejo. He looks – someone on the text line mentioned that someone on another show, said he looks really raw, a long way away from being a production pass rusher. Craig and JC. Yes, that would be my take too. I would agree. He looks skinny. He looks like a rookie, and it looks like he's got to come up with some more to add to his bag at this point, which is not a great thing for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, Jeff Simmons looks great. He's got Arden Key. We'll see. Sweat has got to be, I think, a big part of this. But Oladejo probably is going to play quite a bit, and I think on a lot of teams he wouldn't play a lot because he's a rookie and he's developing all this stuff. Dan Moore did handle him, no problem. So good for Dan Moore. You definitely want to see that. I think if you had a choice with the overall, goodness of this team, for the overall benefit of this team, you would choose Dan Moore to be able to handle Oladejo, right? Again, unless Oladejo is just the freak part right. 25 years later, probably not going to be the case. Okay. So I thought he looked fine. It's just, and then there were times when he also went up against Arden Key, looked fine. I think for the most part, other than, and they definitely threw, again, like I said, some pressures at them that made it even kind of hard to tell because it was like they just were outnumbered. But overall, I thought that he looked pretty solid. He looks to me, small sample size, but I think this kind of goes along with what others are saying. Like he's certainly going to be an upgrade to some extent. To what extent, I don't know. When he goes against the top guys in the NFL, some of the great players he's going to see this year, I don't know. I think he's probably going to take some L's here and there. But I don't think it's not going to be Turnstile City, would be my guess. So that's a good thing.
Well, that's definitely a good thing. And because, frankly, at the tackle spot the last few years, we know it's been Turnstile City way too much out there. Now, in terms of like what you learn from a matchup, I don't know that a worse one exists than Dan Moore and Oladejo.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like it just
no, don't play each other.
And I think the expectations that we've talked about with Oladejo are already pretty low for a second-round pick. Like, look, a second-round pick, most years we'd be talking about, hey, he needs to come in and start and be productive for you immediately. Of course, I want to see that from Oladejo, but from the moment they drafted him, we've talked about that kind of feels like more of a project here. Now, I will say, if you're a Titans fan out there that's listening and you say, wait a minute, Brian Callahan a few days ago just said that Oladejo was past where he thought he would be. Like, what does this all mean if he's just getting handled by Dan Moore out there? So I don't know.
Dan Moore Pro Bowl.
Maybe so. I mean, look, you bring up the pass rushers that the Titans are going to see this year. One thing that I've probably heard a little bit too much of in the Dan Moore discourse this offseason was, well, just look at the pass rushers he's going up against the AFC North. It's like, yeah, I get it. He's he's going up against Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson and TJ Watt. It's not fun. You still have to play some of those guys, even if you're not in the AFC North, right? So
for sure.
You're going to see Myles Garrett this year. You're going to see Max Crosby this year with the Raiders. Like you're going to see these guys, and he has to be able to block some of those guys.
Well, and by the way, when you see those guys, if you are an offensive tackle in this league and you see any of the names you just mentioned, you're getting help because they'll beat any offensive tackle one-on-one. So, I mean, well, I shouldn't say
unless you're like prime Trent Williams, you're getting some help.
Any with rare exceptions, like the team that can try to block those guys with one, that team has a tremendous luxury. Now I'm getting flashbacks to my God, that was 2023, right, in Cleveland when they actually did try to block.
Oh yeah,
Garrett at times with one, and I'm like, hey, Vrabes, are you watching this?
That
Are
ain't
you
gonna
watching
work,
the same
boss.
game I'm doing? What did
Yeah.
they have, like 90 yards of offense in that game?
That
Good
was one of the
Lord.
worst games I think I've ever watched.
Holy.
Wasn't that the same game Deshaun Watson threw a ball like 30 yards backwards? That was fun.
It was.
Yep.
And yet he still won that game. And
He
it
did.
was like, well, maybe Deshaun's going to be all right after all, Cleveland. Hello, Cleveland.
Was that the highlight of Deshaun Watson's Browns
That was
career?
pretty much the peak of his career.
Yeah.
With the Browns. But yeah, like you're going to get help when you play those guys anyway. So it's almost like you shouldn't even give that excuse to a guy like him because not that I watched all those snaps, but I'd be very surprised if there wasn't at least a running back chip, when those guys were lined up in front of him. So yeah, look, he looked good yesterday. He'll see, they're going to these joint practices will shed more light on some things. But I do think that you wanted to see, I would say I came away, man, I want to see the rookie do a little more. He just kind of get out of here, dude. Get out of here, kid, So I do wonder if Oladejo, now, can Oladejo set the edge? Can he be solid? Can he get Harold Landry had stretches of his career too where he really wasn't getting that many sacks and he wasn't quite the pass rusher they're home for, but it's like, well, he's a pro, he's solid, he does everything right, he stops the run, he's gonna be on the field. Is Oladejo ready to do all that? I don't know.
So what you're telling me is not a great day for the rookies yesterday. The first round pick and the second round pick, a little bit of a struggle yesterday.
Yes, it was a welcome to the NFL rookie. Here's the first day in pads type of day.
That happens.
It does.
We'll see if they respond to it.
Yeah,
Timmy Oladejo is going to be throwing people around today.
I will say one rookie who I like the looks of is DK, man. The guy can he can move. Chim DK. Don't know, how often he'll be involved. Can he really get on the field right now in an NFL game and do something? I don't know, but you see there's a little bit of different level of acceleration there when he gets the ball in his hands that you like to see.
Boy, we know that receiving corps has needed some of that for a while.
Yes.
So we'll see what that ends up looking like. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our friend Stilly went on a bit of a tirade yesterday, and he brought up something with a part of this organization that we've talked about before that I wonder if in this specific instance it's fair game. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will have Brian Callahan's press conference later this hour, scheduled to be at 7:40. It'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 7:40 when that press conference gets underway. We'll see where it is today.
If it's not right at 7:40, I expect a PK question about it.
I agree. Brian, is it symbolism that you're late?
Brian, is your watch work all right or what? Huh?
You still wear a watch?
The Kaharski variety of impersonations. I got to remember to keep Edith Bunker. Yeah, keep Edith Bunker in mind. Edith Bunker is the North Star.
She really is. She really is. So we'll have the Callahan press conference for you later this hour. We will also have an early edition of the Rex Rant coming up at 7:30 as well. So all that coming up here in just a few minutes here on the program. I want to start this hour, Joe, with our good friend Stilly. So I was listening to his program yesterday because I knew after listening to D-Mace and his breakdown of Cam Ward that Stilly would have some takes on Cam Ward. And he certainly had some of that. But eventually the conversation came up about Will Levis. And Will Levis, as we know, is having shoulder surgery. Matter of fact, I guess he probably had it yesterday. Shoulder surgery. And is going to be out the entire year for the Tennessee Titans. We'll see where his career goes. And, you know, Stillman actually brought up a few things about that were interesting. Like a lot of people have wondered why Levis wasn't traded, or seemingly the Titans didn't try to trade Will Levis. It's like, well, would they think that he was going to pass a physical? I have no idea. So there's that part of it to think about as well. But, you know, Stilly has a doctor friend, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know which doctor it is or who Stillman is talking to. But Stillman apparently feels good enough about it where he trusts him and trusts his medical opinion. So, you know, Will Levis shared that photo on Instagram the other night that basically just said last night with this little guy.
Ugh.
And it's something like just going right through his shoulder. It looks like the AC joint. It looks gross. And obviously, I took one look at that, Joe, and I was like, wait a minute. So nobody thought he should have had surgery before all this?
Immediately?
It's like sticking out of his body. Like there's something protruding out of his neck there. So not great. So he shared that photo, and apparently Stillman talked to this doctor, and the doctor took one look at it and was like, yeah, that's a grade 3 shoulder separation, which involves the AC joint, and he should have had surgery. And the fact that he was ever even throwing the ball with it is just amazing to me, which led Stillman to a discussion of how did the Titans medical staff not catch this, and why was surgery just now an option if it was. So we've talked a lot about the medical staff. We brought up the Vrabel quote from a few years ago of, you know, I never got hurt, and thought, oh my goodness, it's the trainers, or is essentially what Vrabel said.
Yeah.
So we've gone down the medical staff road before, but I will say, like, I do find this whole Levis situation on one side or the other pretty weird. Like, clearly the Titans don't seem to be very happy about the timing of it, of him having the surgery here. But also, like, I take one look at that photo and I'm like, well, I don't know how in the world you guys wouldn't think that requires surgery. Like, I'm no doctor. I'm not a medical expert. Don't pretend to be, but that looks pretty rough.
No, I agree. I think that's a fair thing to bring up for sure. And this is one of those things where, yeah, I'd like to know from the Titans perspective. I know that they've already been asked about Levis and the timing, and he threw. But the weird thing is, again, Borgonzi said it. I think it was Borgonzi. Maybe it was Brinker. I don't know. Berserker. I get them all mixed up. But he said it was full go.
Yeah.
No one saw detected anything. So that picture does not match up with how he's performed. And then go back to last year. It's like, I guess, he sort of downplayed it to be kind. He downplayed it. Talked about how he's hurt after like colds, like all the back and forth. This happens with players. Players want to play. Levis, and last year, his personality and the situation he was in last year is probably max conditions for someone who's going to like downplay / lie about an injury.
Yep.
and play through it and all that stuff. But like you said, that's why medical staffs largely are there to save players from themselves. And then looking at that, yeah, at least like right after the season, of course you're getting that fixed.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Why are you thinking of anything else?
Again, I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea. Look, I don't know if he's got a grade 3 separation. I'm not a doctor. That's what Stilly's doctor told him, and that's between Stilly and whatever doctor friend he's got. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I mean, I'm just using my human eyeballs looking at that, and I'm like, my God, that looks awful. Like how did we not think that surgery could be a pretty realistic option immediately when that sort of injury takes place?
Yeah. Then it's like, well, you could look at this timing because, look, we've talked about it, and it's been reported. PK has reported it. The Titans were not happy.
Yeah.
But you could look at the timing of everything, and like I guess I could buy that they all decided together, well, go through this, and then and like the timing, it kind of takes him out of this whole situation. Because look, a Cam Ward, I talked about this going to camp. A Cam Ward day like yesterday, and someone texted about this too, in tandem with no one cares about Allen and Boyle. They can do whatever they want. Okay, yep. No one cares. But if Levis had an awesome day yesterday against the same kind of defense, even if he's repping with the 2s and Cam Ward's repping with the 1s, and who knows, Levis might be getting some 1 reps. Well, then it's like, well, at least it's like, okay, the rookie's not ready. This is a viable option. You know what I mean? So he's out of that equation. That's gone. Maybe the repair, you could, if you're Levis's agent, you can look at this and say, hey, he toughed it out. Some of last year was this, him being tough, and he probably was trying to be too tough, but let's keep his performance through that lens. Now he's repaired. He's going to be good as new in the spring. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about Will Levis. So, I mean, like, the timing could really work for both, but obviously that's not how the Titans looked at it. And then I keep going back to, so then why didn't he have it?
That's
you keep coming back to that.
When I first saw, before he showed that picture, when I first saw, Levis is having surgery before the season, I was like, okay, well, Levis has looked around, he's reading the tea leaves, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I know that I'm not going to start. Maybe at this point he thought maybe he's not even going to be the backup, and why not just go ahead and get yourself all healthy and ready to go for your career beyond this season. And that was kind of the way I viewed it, as, all right, he's making sure he's getting himself right, and he's not worried about what the Titans are doing this year. And then he showed the photo, and it's like, I mean, that looks pretty rough, man. Like, I don't know how, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm an expert here. I'm just telling you what my reaction was. I saw that, and I was like, oh, my God, of course he's having surgery. Like, he should have surgery. And I guess I just don't understand where that disconnect seems to be.
There's missing information.
Yeah.
And again, that information may be wrong from Jared's friend.
Again, yeah, the Jared and what he says for his doctor friend, I'll leave that between him. I have no idea.
But like, the picture suggests something serious. Like Wes and Clarkson were like, why would they even clear him to play? Shouldn't that be a failed physical? Yeah, I would think that if he got a physical, he wouldn't pass a physical, right?
Wouldn't think so. I don't know. But again, I say that, and he was out there all spring throwing the ball. And by the way, apparently throwing the ball pretty well. I mean, we didn't really talk about it all that much because everybody had moved on to Cam Ward, but apparently Will Levis looked pretty decent this spring. So I don't know what to make of all that.
Once they repair it, he's going to
be zipping around.
It'll be like just absolute lasers out there. Matthew Nashville says, isn't this the same medical staff that gave the okay to draft Caleb Farley, or was that all Robinson? Well, they obviously couldn't have the same exams then. Or wait a minute. Yeah, I think they still were limited, right, in 21.
I believe so.
It wasn't as limited as 20, but I think it was still limited.
It was as unlimited to the point of, we know, because it was reported both, I think, before and after the fact, that there were teams that totally had Farley off their board because of their medical evaluation.
Yeah, so to answer that, Matthew, I think I'd probably blame Robinson more than the medical staff on that, because I think it was I mean, I just haven't seen the medal. Maybe their reports were glowing, and it's like, whoa, you all need to be fired. But it seems to me that it was just he knew it was a risk. Everybody knew it was a risk. It's just like some teams are like, we don't mess with risks like that. And if that's our policy over in the long run, we're going to be better off for it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Got a lot of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. We will do that coming up next. Brian Callahan's press conference coming up later this hour. We got the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode, all that ahead. This week's Nashville's Best Deal, Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken, bursting with heat and flavor. There's nothing better than the original. For a limited time, grab half off a $25 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I got some tickets to give away. Pair of tickets to see Volbeat and Hailstorm at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on Saturday. Be caller 4, 615-737-1025. Caller number 4 will win a pair of tickets to see Volbeat and Hailstorm at First Bank Amphitheater this Saturday, August the 2nd, 615-737-1025. Ed on the text line, Joe, says, I don't know what protrudes more, Levis's AC joint or Joe's bicep. You can tell Joe's been working out.
That's right, baby. Check it out. Come on, Detroit bad boys. Sorry, my man boobs showing there. Sorry.
Justin wondering if
Ian's like, what's he talking about in there?
What's going on in here?
I was like, what color? Oh, what?
Justin wondering if Levis could have posted an old photo after the injury to make it look bad on the Titans now. I mean, I guess there's no way for me to prove that the photo that Levis put out there the other night was actually taken the other night.
Here's your line in the sand, okay? So we're talking about Stilly segments. I didn't hear him yesterday, but he was talking about his doctor friend and all that. If he doesn't have the conspiracy theory, then you should know that you should not have that. Okay, like that's the line.
Justin may have just made Stilly's show later today. You know, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Good point.
Maybe an old photo.
An old photo of when.
I mean, that would be some next level trolling by Will Levis. If that's the case.
That'd be pretty interesting. No, look, the whole thing is very weird. I mean, I think that this is. I think, you know, like if you're Kaharski and anybody covering the Titans, there are things that are more important, right? Of course, there are right now going on, but I think that warrants a follow up, a circling back on. Given the severe nature of what Levis, you know, put online, you know, again, like why wasn't there more consideration given to have surgery as soon as you possibly can have surgery? Because of course you're going to have surgery.
Well, and by the way, who knows what that means? Because I mean, when did he originally sustain the shoulder injury last year? It was the Miami game, right?
Yeah.
On Monday Night Football, which was very early in the season. Now, you had already to that point had the crazy, stupid turnover in Chicago, and the next week followed it up with the stupid turnover at home against the Jets.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are already some red flags popping up about Will Levis that you were like, oh, man, I don't know. But that was still early enough in the season where I don't know that you had a definitive answer. And I guess my point is, like, what if he had surgery after that and they just shut him down all of last year? What would the Titans have done at that point at the quarterback position? I don't know.
Well, another thing is, look, he had that. And he missed time, came back, said it was bad, said it wasn't bad, all that stuff. Played really well in that win at Houston.
Yep.
Way after that. So the severity that you saw in that picture, I mean, that might have not gotten to that point until some hit way late in the season. I don't know.
I have no idea. Oh, and again, I see the picture. The picture looks bad, but I don't know. I don't know how severe that is. It looks awful, but I don't know exactly what that means. Like, I can't look at that, Joe, and say, "Oh yeah, that's a grade 3 shoulder separation." I don't have a medical degree, so I can't do that.
I mean, I guess did Dr. David Chow weigh in on this at any point?
I haven't seen.
He's one of the famous Twitter doctors. I have to check his timeline. Someone says Titans medical staff being a bunch of incompetents isn't new. Snead, Farley, Burks, Spears, etc. Well, okay. I mean, first of all, if you want to go specifically through those guys, again, I mean, Snead, everybody knows what the deal was. I think sometimes you're blaming medical people here when it's just GMs being willing to take risks.
Yeah.
I mean, people knew what Farley's injuries were. They knew that Snead didn't practice with the Chiefs the year before, but he played well, right? I mean, yeah, you still have medical people get involved in that stuff. I mean, Burks, that's just stuff that's happened since he's gotten here. I don't blame the medical people for that. Spears, they knew he didn't have an ACL. They decided to do it anyway. I mean, it's not like, Spears, although he wasn't very good last year, it's not like that's really been the story with him, right?
No, I mean, look, the two I think you can really focus in on are Farley and Snead, because Farley, I mean, the medical information was there. And then it gets down to this. Did the Titans have a different medical opinion than some other teams on Farley? Or was it just as simple as John Robinson didn't care and was willing to take the risk? Because those are two very different things.
Very different.
Same thing with Snead. Like, was the Titans medical staff more willing to take the risk with Snead, or did Rand Carthon and Chad Brinker look at it and say, you know what? We understand he's got some knee problems, but we'll take the risk and we'll give up the 3rd round pick, even though apparently nobody else in the NFL will. We'll do it.
I would like that question asked of John Robinson if anybody were to ask any questions of John Robinson at any point. Do you believe the medical information that you had at that time was the same medical information other teams had, or do you believe that there was something missing from the picture?
Yeah. Well, we might find out tomorrow when John Robinson's home with Chasing Big Joe.
Chasing Big Joe. Listen, Big Joe, I know you want to ask him if TC or Higgins was his favorite character on Magnum PI. I want to swap this question in instead. I mean, the obvious answer is TC, right? And forget Rick. I don't even count Rick.
We'll find out. Maybe
you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have no clue. Maybe that'll be the first thing that John Robinson gets into tomorrow. But yeah, he'll be on with Chasing Big Joe tomorrow from the Omni Hotel at 10 o'clock. There you go.
I'm excited. Is that the first time we've talked about it? Were we supposed to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, Chase put it out there.
Okay.
So
he tweeted it?
He's tweeted it. So
okay. I wasn't sure.
I feel like if he's tweeted it, I can probably say it.
Okay. I'm behind as usual. Texter says, do we remember what kind of surgery Caleb Farley? Well, he had several surgeries. I mean, he had ACL in college, and he had multiple back surgeries.
Is that just somebody trying to get you to say sciatica again?
Oh, I see.
It could be.
I don't think there's a
sciatica surgery.
Is there a sciatica surgery?
I don't know.
Sciatica. Good try, though. Good try. I'm too dense to even get that you're.
I don't know if that's what he's doing.
I'm sure that is.
I'm
sure that's what it was.
That's the first thing I thought of. Hey, Joe, what kind of problems did Caleb Farley have? Let's go through them all again.
Yeah. You can't recreate magic like that, you know.
You can't.
Thank goodness it happened one time.
Is he affiliated with the team right now? Caleb Farley?
No.
Okay. He ended up in Carolina for a little bit, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. And I think then they cut him. So I don't know that.
I think he's currently not on a roster.
Yeah.
So a lot of former Titans picks, 1st round picks, not on rosters. By the way, Traylon Burks did not get claimed yesterday, so we should probably say that. He did not get claimed and now goes to the IR process for the Titans, and when he's done with that, he's going to get cut.
He'll be released when healthy. Yes.
We'll see what happens and when that exactly takes place, but no team claiming Traylon Burks yesterday. We'll have a early version of the Rex rant coming up next. We will have the Brian Callahan press conference later this hour as well, scheduled to be around 7:40. All that ahead, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Do you think Nick Saban would ever wear a backwards cap and give a rah-rah speech to the team? Real mature, Mike. Real mature.
Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.
Yeah, I'm just taking a video over here. I'm not very good at assessing bodies with shirts on.
Oh, yeah. More polyester pants.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
You need,
Great
you
weight
need
loss.
naked bodies to assess them better.
I do. Shirts off.
Pay no attention to the man with the camera.
I'll be at the Red Lobster in case you change your mind, shooter. God bless.
Tally ho!
It is that time of the day. An early version of the Rex Rant. Joseph, I turn the floor over to you.
Good stuff in there, man. Good stuff in there. Kaharski. We cannot stop making fun of Kaharski and his naked videos. Sometimes you forget jokes and you move on to new jokes. That one's gotta.
Let me tell you,
gotta keep recycling.
I can
that
speak
one.
for myself. I will never forget that one. Ever.
So I kind of like these shorter rants. Sometimes it's daunting to look at and say, like, am I going to be able to scream about something for like 11 straight minutes? Let me be real quick here. If you are someone in the world who has watched, apparently it's like 47 million streams, whatever they call it, download. What are this? Not streams, but
Streams is fine.
yeah. A lot of people have been watching Happy Gilmore 2. If you're one of the people in the world who is complaining about Happy Gilmore 2 because the plot's not good or because it's stupid, are you a freaking moron? Don't ever watch another movie again. Happy Gilmore 2 is freaking awesome. I mean, is it as good as Happy Gilmore 1? No. Was it ever going to be? No. I'm totally happy with it, and I'll watch it again. And if you want to talk about a movie being stupid, let's go back to Happy Gilmore 1, which is amazing, 1996. I mean, I've watched it 50 times. Let's see. It's about a terrible hockey player with a vicious slap shot whose hockey technique allows him to drive the ball 450 yards. It starts with him hooking up with a random elderly woman after singing "I Wanna Kiss You All Over" by Exile to his girlfriend walking out. Bob Barker beats his ass and calls him a bitch, and Chubbs dies falling out a window when he sees the stuffed head of the alligator that bit off his hand. It's a completely moronic movie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's 1996. Like the whole plot with like the house, it's totally, completely nonsense, and it's awesome. And have you noticed some of the movies Adam Sandler has made? He's made movies so dumb they're actually not good. This is a good movie. Go see Happy Gilmore 2 if you haven't seen it. They probably do too much hearkening back to at times. It's like you don't have to hit every gag up and redo the gag. But I mean, John Daly is the dude living in his garage. Yeah. Awesome. Scotty Scheffler. Of course, we got some jail jokes with him.
Yeah.
Eminem as the kid of the Red Lobster dude. Torn apart. Okay, I can't spoil too much. No, that's good. The cameos are all over the place. There's a lot of great ones. Yeah, the plot is like, it's kind of like a Liv against PGA thing. And of course, they turn Liv into like, again, like bad pro wrestling. Okay. I thought it was good. I mean, they get Ben Stiller back in there. The kids are hilarious. His sons are freaking great. I mean, come on, man. If you're seriously complaining about this movie, do you have any way of finding joy in your life? Are you just a complete... This is a type of crap Kaharski would do. He would complain about this movie because it's too dumb.
Kaharski's
Find joy in your life.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to it. I told you a few weeks ago when we were talking about this before it came out that I'm going to keep my expectations incredibly low for it. And then I'll be pleasantly surprised. I have been again, I've not seen it yet. I've been pretty stunned at like how strong some of the opinions are on Happy Gilmore 2. There are people that are legitimately furious about it. I'm like, guys, it's Happy Gilmore. What do you expect?
I need to know. Someone who likes Happy Gilmore, the first one, is furious about this movie. It's stunning.
And you don't even have to buy an extra movie theater ticket.
No,
it's already included in your Netflix, so it's not like you're spending extra money to go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with the reaction I'm seeing. Abel on the YouTube chat. I loved Happy Gilmore 2. It was awesome. Anthony says, I thought Bad Bunny was great. Bad Bunny as his caddy was awesome. No, he was fantastic. No, I will watch it again. And there are definitely some Adam Sandler movies Like, there were Adam Sandler movies I couldn't get through. They were so bad.
Yeah, they've been
And
some bad ones.
Understanding, it's an Adam Sandler movie. Understanding, Little Nicky is an Adam Sandler movie. Like, it's supposed to be stupid. I still like, dude, I can't do it. This is terrible. Like, what's the vampire one? What was the vampire one he did?
What was it? I don't remember that one. He did a vampire movie?
Am I wrong? Or
There's an animated vampire
is that
movie.
that's not what I'm thinking of. I don't know. There's also like the fake Adam Sandler movies like Merman that are in Funny People, which is awesome. But yeah, like seriously, like get a life. It's supposed to be stupid. Michael said, yes, I can do that. I'm allowed to say that. But Bob Barker called him a bitch. What do you want me to do?
And then Bob Barker got a mean swing to him back in the day. Mean swing.
Keith says, wait till these people see Billy Madison 2, LOL. Yeah, see, I don't think you can do a sequel to Billy Madison because, like, he is just a little bit too much of a psycho in that movie. Like, there's no way Billy Madison, like, lived to 30. You know what I mean? I don't think you can do that sequel. Josh says the movie is dumb, just like the first. That's part of why it's hilarious. Exactly. I was very satisfied. This was a satisfying. Most sequels, they're not good. We know this. And some, you have the occasional unbelievably good sequel like Godfather 2 or The Dark Knight in that particular trilogy of Batman, which is better than, in both cases, probably better than the original. I mean, how many sequels are good? Not many.
Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator was good. That was a good sequel. Yeah, there's some. Most are bad. Most are unnecessary. Did they have to make this movie? No, but I think they did a great, especially involving all the PGA golfers they did. Nah, man, it's great.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Brian Callahan's press conference coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. Brian Callahan scheduled to address the media at 7:40. Joe, at 7:40. He's not up there yet. We'll see what happens today.
Interesting. I really thought he might zag when we thought he was going to zig and go early today.
I mean, you brought up something interesting. You know, we discussed earlier in the show, and we will discuss again coming up here in just a few minutes, the rough day for Cam Ward and the offense yesterday. I am interested to see if, number one, Ward bounces back in day 2 of pads. Number 2, if they do today, maybe do what you threw out there that you have seen other coaches do before of, all right, our number 1 rookie quarterback really had a tough day yesterday. Let's ease it up a little bit today.
Yeah.
Get the confidence flowing again.
Show him a little different look, but sit back a little more and maybe get some access throws going and, get a little confidence.
Because I know there are some Titans fans that hear that and are like, screw that, throw things at him, get him ready to go.
I mean, I think he's tough enough to handle it, and that is, I mean, there's no better way to get better, right, than to fail and have to figure out why you failed and all that. But there's also, I think there's probably a little bit of a roller coaster of confidence that you want a rookie quarterback to be on as a coach. I'm going to read Dennis real quick. He says, dumb reoccurring jokes with occasional cameos. Sounds like Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's about right, Dennis.
Kind of sums it up.
I smoke
Does that mean we can be in the next
constantly?
Does that mean we can be in the next Sandler movie? I mean, everybody else is, so we got to be getting pretty close to being on the list.
Exactly.
I mean, I will say the one thing that freaks me out, and again, I have not seen it yet, clean-shaven Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah,
it
was a little weird.
Strange. Yeah.
I thought Rory was pretty good in this too.
Hey, all right. Who knew?
While we're waiting for Brian Callahan, Nate says that if we were to compare PK to an animated character, it would be Squidward. That's actually very good. He is very much Squidward.
It's pretty good. Never thought about that before, but that it could be on there. Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward in day 2 of pads coming up today. Obviously a struggle yesterday, 3 picks. That's the one thing that if you're a Titans fan, and again, I've talked about this before, we spend so much time breaking down practice in the NFL compared especially to every other sport out there. We spend so much time talking about practice. The one thing that I'm looking at with Ward right now that is concerning to me, a lot of picks. And I understand it's practice, and you know, if you're figuring some things out along the way, but by the time week 1 rolls around, you've gotten some of it out of your system and you've learned. That's great, but I would like to see the picks go down. It looks like Brian Callahan has walked up to the stage, so let's head out to Brian Callahan.
Good. Well, since I just talked to you yesterday, I don't have a whole lot to add, so I'll let you guys go ahead.
But Brian, after a day like yesterday for Cam, how much is today a nice test to see how he bounces back?
It's the name of the game in training camp, especially for young players, Cam in particular, that you have a day that there's some things you can learn from and see if you've learned from them and get a chance to go do it again. That's the best part of training camp, is that you don't have to wait a week to go see if you're showing improvement. You can come back the next day and then hopefully show some growth and improvement.
How do you feel he will bounce back on a tough day like this?
I feel great about how he bounced back. It's just sort of how he's wired. Everything about his mental makeup and how he operates when he makes mistakes is everything you'd want to see from a coaching perspective. And so I feel really good about how he'll respond to any negativity in general. So it'll be fun to find out.
Ryan, where you guys are testing a lot of stuff out here in camp, how important is it for a quarterback to not have the fear of failure and to kind of lean in and sell out into what you're trying to do, even if that results in a day like this?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of players in camp. You know, the just the daily updates and who wins and who loses and who performs well and who doesn't, I think gets in the way sometimes of what we're really after, which is we're trying to develop every day and get better. And we want guys to take some risks with how they play, and quarterbacks in particular make throws or try throws that you maybe not going to do in a game, but see how it feels and see where if you have that one in your bag or not, you know. But that's with a lot of players is you want guys to play fast. You don't want them to fear failure. And we'll coach and correct any mistakes that come up. And the idea is that you don't make them again and you just keep pushing forward. But you want guys to not have a governor on and not have to be worried about making mistakes, because that generally tends to be a pretty poor mindset to try to perform in.
1 week evaluation, maybe Cam, what if you late, and what would you like to see a little bit better?
I really liked how much command he has over the offense at this moment. We're installing a lot of information again. It comes at you quick. In the first 7 days of training camp are heavy installation. There's a lot of new information every single day. He's done a really nice job of handling that. I'm starting to see the growth in his command at the line of scrimmage in terms of he made a couple nice checks yesterday. He made a couple really good protection adjustments yesterday. So those things are really encouraging to see. And the operation is getting faster, which is the next key, is just how much faster can we operate at the line of scrimmage. And then the physical part's been really, really good. There's no change in that part. I mean, he's playing on time. He's making good throws. And then there's obviously there's mistakes interwoven with all of that, and we just keep coaching.
That's what you mentioned about things needing to go faster. It did seem from outside looking in that it was a tick slower. What can you do to get that more on the page? Because I know timing is so important in that transition.
The part of the play clocks, we had the play clocks up yesterday too. We'll have them up every day out from there. You try to give them a couple of days grace period as we're getting information installed to not have to think about the play clock, but we're at that point now where that's part of the process. And I tried to tell him the other day, just even the flow of a real game, the flow doesn't flow normal out here. So, you're coming back to a huddle, the ball's not moving forward usually, which we'll do a little more move the ball today, which should help. But that timing, the 40-second clock and the 25-second clock go really, really fast. And you have to be on top of it. And most of the time, I'm calling a play really quick in the course of a normal flow of a game. And you got to get in a huddle and call it and break the huddle so you have time to operate. So it's just a tempo thing. He'll get used to it. But we'll continue to push it.
How about Allen and Boyle? How are those guys doing behind Cam?
I think Brandon's had a really strong camp. It's been really good to see. He's been accurate. He's managed everything you expect him to manage as a veteran quarterback. He's been really helpful for Cam. I've been pleased with where and how Brandon's shown up in his camp so far, and he's got to keep it going. But he's had a really nice start. Tim as well. I think Tim has done some good things. He's learning the offense for the first time as well, so he's trying to figure some things out with it. But I've been really pleased with that room and how they've worked together and how they've operated on the practice field.
Back to your rookies, from your rookies in terms of pacing themselves here towards the start of the camp.
They've done a really nice job with that in general. I think they're starting to realize that this is it's like little sprints within a marathon. They've done a good job. Their schedules are manageable. They've understanding that they've built the routines for themselves, which I think is the most encouraging part. Is they have routines and they're disciplined about them, and I think it's helped them prepare every day and come out and be ready to perform when it's time to. So been pleased with those guys. Go ahead.
Talk about the duress that Cam was under yesterday. How much of that is kind of preset by design to make sure that he's prepared for those situations and he can process faster after he sees it and watches it?
That's part of it. Yeah, we've done quite a bit more in the early portions of camp maybe than last year of some third down work, and playing against an Ards defense can be really challenging. They got all the different fronts and pressures, and there's a lot of information, a lot of things you have to handle. They do a really good job disguising coverages and disguising blitzes. So it's going to advance Cam's learning. He's going to be stressed a bit early on until he gets more and more comfortable. And as he sees all these looks and manages the process, he gets better every time he goes out there. So some of it's by design. We're putting him in some really hard spots in the third down periods for sure. So we can continue to see some growth and put him in the fire a little bit.
Pads in combination with Dan Moore maybe serve to slow Femi down on the first day of that?
Yeah, I think the pad part for all these young players, the first time they put them on, but Femi in particular too, is you put pads on and the way tackles set and the way that they can use their hands, all those things sort of change when you have the pad on. And so I think he's learning to learn how to rush, and he's learning some new techniques. And so those things are kind of a work in progress for him. But the padded part changes a lot of things for those guys up front on both sides. And I think that's a good thing to see.
You don't want guys to get caught up in the daily winners and losers call, but you've also talked a lot about
wanting competition, wanting these guys to really, how do you kind of balance those two things of wanting the day-to-day to matter, but not wanting them to dwell on the day-to-day?
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. I think that's where you find the best or the most amount of growth is you're competing at a high level to have success, and you're doing everything you can and over the course of a practice to execute what's being asked, whatever that is for your position. But then when you come off the field and you watch the film and you have a chance to make improvements, it's really not this like up and down, you lost and you won. We're trying to still get better. And there's a lot of things that our team is trying to get better at, but that's the balance, is the competition piece of it, along with the building and growing and making mistakes. That's all a part of the process. But I think our guys come out here and they compete hard together, but there's certainly a part of it where you're still teaching, learning, and coaching. So I think they kind of live in the same world together at the same time. Yep.
Roger's one of your quietest guys, maybe, but he's conscious of contract year and kind of wants to present himself more and stuff. Have you noticed a change in him, and what might that do for him?
I have. I'm excited about where Roger's at. He made a really nice play yesterday in the teamwork, playing over the top of a pick route, and it was a well-thrown ball, and he's in perfect position for it. So I think you see guys when they're getting to spots like Roger's, contract years tend to be pretty motivated to show what they're all about, and I've seen that from Roger so far. It's been good to see from him too.
Brian, Peter's talked about having a different guy on that left side in his first few years. With Dan here now, how nice is it that you're going to have some continuity in your
Yeah, certainly. Continuity is a big part of offensive line success. And you look at the best lines around the league, most of them have some pretty core players that have played together for a while. And that's the idea is, we got two young draft picks that are playing together. We have another free agent center and a free agent tackle. And then you got Zeiler, who's on his 1-year deals. So how fast can those guys come together and create some continuity is a key. But the lines that play really well over time are ones that play together for some stretch. 3 years sounds like an eternity sometimes, but that's really what you're hoping for, is that guys can settle in and play together for a while.
Just practice for a week. How is Kevin Winston only practiced for a week? How have you seen him maybe quick development right out of the gate?
He shows up, which I think is the best thing for young players, is that if he finds his way into plays, sometimes how he gets there and how he puts himself in that spot is you kind of wonder how he got to the play, because he's still learning some technique and alignment and some of the defensive stuff, but his just natural ability shows up and he finds ways to make plays every day. And that's really encouraging for him. And then you're just trying to keep pushing along the mental part and the technique part that go with it. So he's coming along great. Again, he hasn't played football since, pretty much last September. So it's been good to see.
We were saying yesterday that I guess they were told maybe by Bill that there was a big difference in some of the one-on-ones in the first day pads this year. Is that something that you noticed?
I noticed it. I think I noticed more though. It's more the technique, just how much more comfortable these guys are in their set technique, in their strike and their hand placement, especially the guys that have been here for going on two training camps now. So you see it, you see the confidence, you see their preciseness, that improvement over time has really shown up. So that's been encouraging to see.
See maybe more in those one-on-ones when you went back and watched. You see more offensive line wins than losses in your estimation?
Yeah, I think if you're just purely did they do their job? Yeah, it was a pretty good day for those guys up front in the one-on-ones. And the fun part about one-on-ones is the defensive guys go back and watch, and then they try to counter the sets and the one-on-ones and work their counter moves. So it's a back and forth process for those guys. But I was just pleased to see more so that the preciseness of the technique and their sets were really, it was good to see that execution in that drill for sure.
How's Van Jefferson gone about his business this first week?
He's a pro. I mean, you don't hear Van a lot, but he shows up. He tends to make a play or two every time we come out here from the spring and through now so far. So it's good to have Van. He's a good veteran presence. He's a pro's pro. He knows how to work. He knows how to play. He's been good for the young receivers too, and he's been good for our offense, frankly. And I'm excited that we have him.
Will come alive a little bit yesterday. What have you seen from him throughout this season?
What I would have expected to see from him, there's something about him as a football player, that you can't measure necessarily. He's he just has a knack for finding space and getting open, and the ball tends to find him. And sometimes that's just how guys play, and that's just what they look like when they play. And he had a big one yesterday. He has had a couple of catches in between, and he's just a good football player, and he continues to sort of make strides and get more comfortable, and the quarterbacks seem to find a way to get him the ball.
How have you seen that interaction between he and Cam before?
X is kind of like Cam's shadow. I don't know. They're always kind of doing stuff together. But that's because X is trying everything he can in every possible way to put himself in position to play well and have a chance to make our roster. And Cam, with their relationship, is trying to help him do that. And that's just in the building and how they communicate. But X is really, really intelligent, and he does a really nice job being on top of what he's supposed to know and do. And it's been cool to see. I think he's going to battle like crazy to try to find a way on our team.
I
did. I texted him yesterday. Said everything went well. I think he was pretty fresh out of surgery. So, you know how that goes sometimes, but everything was great. We text back and forth, and he's just telling me he had an itch on his hand, but his nerve blocker hadn't worn off, so he couldn't scratch his itch, which is, weird post-surgery things that happen. So yeah, he's good. He's seemed in good spirits, and it sounds like everything went well for a little bit. Yeah. For the post-op stuff. Yep. Thank you. Same as yesterday, just hands.
I got some criticism of the Titans press corps.
We will get into that coming next. Full reaction to Brian Callahan's press conference on day number 2 in pads. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Brian Callahan just wrapped up his press conference. And, Joe, you got some problems with the Nashville media.
Well, first of all, someone asked, like, why isn't Stilly there to ask the Will Levis question? It doesn't sound like Stilly got up to go out there. But I think that's a question that someone probably should have asked if they asked about, you know, his conversation with Levis after the surgery. But I think it's worth a doubling back of, given what the public has now seen about the severity of the injury, how does that add up with all of the other things that we've seen, including him playing? He was fine. He was maybe not going to have it. Can you shed any light on that? Can you help us at all with that? But my biggest criticism is it doesn't have to be the first question. I mean, I think Teresa's first question was fine. You know, it's like him bouncing back. Well, someone needs to ask a question. What was your analysis of his day yesterday?
Right.
We all analyzed everything. I was out there. I can tell you Cam Ward was bad. Any media person out there can tell you Cam Ward was bad, and here's what happened in the plays and all that. Well, the head coach knows more than we do. So I'd like to hear the head coach actually go through the picks and give us the analysis actually on this one. Because, again, I thought on one of the picks, it looked like Chig did the wrong thing. That wouldn't have been on Cam Ward. Like, just tell us what happened yesterday. No one asked that question. What the hell, Titans media?
Yeah, got to get on Kuharski about it. What are you doing out there, PK?
Well, yeah, I will. But there are a lot of other people.
There are.
Like, that to me is like, that's like necessary. If I'm writing about the Titans and writing about Cam Ward and trying to keep up with everything that's going on, the ups and downs, that's a necessary part of it. Is okay. And I think this is maybe a problem with doing the presser like the day after, because I think if it would have been a presser after practice like it used to be, that's probably like, okay, what's
probably the first thing.
But it still should be the first thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's still the next day. I understand, like, you've already written all your stories about Cam Ward. That's probably part of it. Like, okay, we're moving on to whatever happens today. But still, for the record, what is the analysis of those plays? Like, what actually happened from the coach? And Callahan's great at that stuff too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like Vrabel, you could ask that question, be like, well, we're all trying to be better or whatever. You can tell you some BS answer. Brian Callahan will actually give you a good answer, but no one gave him the opportunity.
We'll see what happens if that comes up again. Maybe he's bad again today. You can get better. What are you doing out there, Brian? What's the film say tomorrow or Thursday?
Or maybe he's great today, and then tomorrow you get the full explanation of all the good things. But let's use Brian Callahan and his expertise to help inform the fan base, because he actually is willing to do that.
There's something that Callahan said that frankly just really irritates me. And we'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes at 8:15. Let's go rapid fire for some Titans thoughts on the text line. Logan says, why is nobody asking him about the energy at practice? D-Mace has expressed concerns with it. So is Willie and Jared. So obviously something is going on. What do you make of? There have been a couple of practices that they've had where people have talked about maybe a lack of energy. I remember really the first training camp practice, that was the talking point. D-Mace brought that up, and Brian Callahan didn't seem to agree with it. They had a great day out there today. So I don't know, maybe different people view it differently, but are you concerned by, apparently, according to people who've been there, maybe a lack of energy at some of these practices?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've heard the talk about it. It's, I don't know. Is that a daily question?
I don't think so.
I don't know. To me, more specific, you get so many. That's the thing, Logan. I mean, think about it this way. There are some people there today who didn't get a chance to ask a question. Usually, if you really want to ask a question, you can. But for the most part, you're probably getting one. I'm not wasting my question on the energy at practice. I guess it's an interesting thing to talk about and discuss. I'm out there yesterday, and it just looked like an NFL practice. I suppose you could say, well, this is the first day of pad. You should be, I don't know. Believe me, Jeff Simmons, he was kicking people's butts, and he was talking trash to them, okay? So it didn't look all that different to me from an NFL practice. I definitely defer to D-Mace on things like that for sure. I mean, he has been there for years and years. But I don't know. I think that might be a little overrated. We'll see. I mean, look, when they take on other teams, you would think that energy will be high, intensity will be high. I guess if they take on,
there's no fight yesterday.
Well, yeah. So some people might say, but is it good? You need a little bit of that. Well, when they take on another team, if there's nothing even remotely approaching a fight, maybe then you wonder, like, are the Titans low T?
Yeah.
Titans, the low T on the Titans. Low Titans.
What's going on out there? Yeah. Cameron. No word on if it's Cameron or Cam Ward on the text line, but Cameron on the text line says, I'm sure having on pads of going against future Hall of Famer Dan Moore is the reason Femi Oladejo didn't look good. Or could it possibly be that the Titans drafted a guy who's never rushed a quarterback to be a pass rusher? Such a bad pick. Like as a fourth rounder, fine. But as a high second rounder, hell no. That's what Cameron says on the text line.
Really quick, I saw this and I got the draft list out again. So a couple things. One, he didn't go at some wildly different spot from where he was projected. He was, I think, for the most part, he was a second or third round grade. So maybe, a little bit higher. He goes, what pick was it? 52? Is that right? 52. But look, obviously some guys, Nick Skirton from Texas A&M went the pick before. JTT from Ohio State won a few picks before that. Ezeraku from Boston College, a few picks before that. I don't know. Maybe they would have taken one of those guys. Also, after Oladejo, you got Trey Harris from Ole Miss. You could have gone there instead of going edge. Jack Best from TCU. You could have gone there. There were some receivers who went. Later you got Harold Fan. Or no, I'm sorry. That's it. Although actually you could make a case for Harold Fannin Jr. I think he's pretty freaking good for Bowling Green. Ashton July from Louisville. Landon Jackson from Arkansas. There's a guy. He went 20 picks later. Jordan Birch from Oregon. So we're going to be watching. I do think that pick for this front office is going to end up being a very important pick to kind of tell us about these guys and their ability to evaluate players and evaluate. Obviously, it's a project, but they obviously also think the ceiling's high. It's going to have to prove to be high. What happened?
Byron says, I think it would be worth wasting your one question to ask if the Titans have low T.
Brian, you guys have low T?
Hey,
How do you fix that?
Are you the Tennessee Titans or the Tennessee Titans? Do you have any T at all?
On that note, there was one thing that Brian Callahan said in that press conference that frankly bothers me. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Tune in for player interviews and the latest updates on the Titans training camp as the team preps for the 2025 season. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by Macero in 12 South and Parman Energy Group. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. The Vols opening fall camp today. We'll get into some of that a little bit later this hour. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. There was something that Brian Callahan said in his press conference as it related to Cam Ward's struggles yesterday that I heard a lot of last year that in actuality did not play out in the Titans' favor last year, and that, frankly, I don't really want to hear much more of from Brian Callahan as we move forward here. Here's what Brian Callahan had to say just a few minutes ago regarding Cam Ward and the Titans' defense.
Talk about the duress that Cam was under yesterday. How much of that is kind of preset by design to make sure that he's prepared for those situations and he can process faster after he sees it and watches it?
That's part of it. Yeah, we've done quite a bit more in the early portions of camp maybe than last year of some third down work, and playing against Denard's defense can be really challenging. They got all the different fronts and pressures, and there's a lot of information, a lot of things you have to handle. They do a really good job disguising coverages and disguising blitzes. So it's going to advance Cam's learning. He's going to be stressed a bit early on until he gets more and more comfortable. And as he sees all these looks and manages the process, he gets better every time he goes out there. So some of it's by design. We're putting him in some really hard spots in third down periods for sure, so we can continue to see some growth and put him in the fire a little bit.
So that was Callahan on the defense and the looks that Cam Ward was getting yesterday. And it's not the first time he's talked about this with Denard Wilson's defense. And it's been some version, Joe, of, well, Denard's defense can be really challenging because they present a lot of different looks, and there's a lot of blitzes that they can bring, and there's a lot of different things you have to account for if you're a quarterback, which, by the way, I'm sure is true. I'm sure there's a lot of things that Denard Wilson can do with his defense. But is that not the case for every defense in the NFL? Didn't we hear a lot of that last year in training camp of, well, the offense struggled today, but Denard's defense is pretty challenging, giving us a good look. And it's like, I heard Matt LaFleur talking yesterday about the looks the Packers were getting on the offensive side. I was like, our defense does a really good job of giving us some looks out there. And it's like, yeah, it's the NFL. They do. I don't really want to hear about, well, the reason the quarterback and the offense is struggling is because the defense is giving you some really good looks, and they're really difficult to deal with. Newsflash, buddy. It's the NFL. Every team has those looks. It's comes with the territory.
Here's the thing, guys, about our quarterback's good performance today. Our defense just is really very vanilla, and they just don't do much. They have a couple blitzes. It's very simplistic. It's very easy to diagnose. So, that's basically why our offense is doing well. The one camp, Robby, that I would, if I heard this from, and I would actually believe it because people around the NFL is Brian Flores' defenses. Because that stuff, some of the stuff he does is so chaotic and hard to track and hard to find trends in, which some often works in their favor. Sometimes they get crushed too. Go back to the end of the regular season. But there's an example of a defense that is, I think, a different level of unique. But yeah, this Denard Wilson's defense, there are the exact same system as in other places around the NFL. No question they do different pressures and all that stuff, but it is one of.
And by the way, their defense kind of sucked last year, and I understand it's year 2 for everybody. And just because the coaching staff looked like they were outmatched at times last year doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be this year. And Denard Wilson's going to be in year 2 as a DC, just like Callahan's in year 2 as a head coach. So maybe there's a dramatic level of improvement that has happened and is coming with those guys. But Denard's defense, I know if you want to go by strictly yardage total, we've talked about this. You can look at some stats last year and be like, well, Titans defense was okay. If you watch the Titans defense play last year, they were not good. It was not a good defensive team. So I don't really want to hear about, just the defense we're going up against is just so challenging because of what Denard does out there. Again, it sounded to me when he started saying that a little bit like what we heard at times last year on the Levis front of, Well, the defense giving us some pretty good looks out there, so the offense is having to adjust to that. It's like, that's the NFL, baby. They got to adjust to all these defenses.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those talking points that, again, I'm it's like everywhere around the NFL or college football right now. It's like, chip on your shoulder is like, can we please just, this is one of the probably underrated, like all across the board talking points of an NFL camp.
Yeah.
And like Dennis said, yeah. So Denard's defense is only hard for Titans quarterbacks somehow. Yeah. Now, look, last year they had some good performances. They got some. They gave some quarterbacks some issues, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough.
No, and again, like I'm not trying to take a shot at Denard Wilson here because I like the hire when it was made. Nothing went great for the Titans last year, so I'm not going to single out Denard Wilson on that. I'm interested to see what that defense looks like in year 2. Frankly, I look at the personnel on the defense, and I wonder if Denard Wilson's got enough tools in the toolkit to actually put together a competitive defense out there. Because if you can't rush the passer, that's going to be a really difficult thing to do. But that's kind of its own separate conversation. Cam Ward is an NFL quarterback now. He's in the NFL. He's a number 1 overall pick. And I'm not saying that you have to be unrealistic with his expectations, but I don't really care about like all the hard looks he's getting from defenses. Like that's what it is. If he's going to play, that's what he's going to have to deal with. So I don't really want to hear that, well, we threw the kitchen sink at him yesterday. It's like, well, yeah, it's playing quarterback in the NFL. That's what you got to deal with.
And look, I brought it up early when I was talking about it, and that was a question from Terry McCormick. So, that is like media thinking that too. I will say, with the nuance of this situation, I don't think every single day in practice will be the same as what he saw yesterday.
I agree.
So that's worth keeping in mind. And it will be interesting today to see if there's a little bit of scale. Like Robert says, like Jeff Fisher did the opposite with Goff when he was a rookie. Like, take it easy. I think there's a push-pull there with most coaches, which is, okay, let's crank it up a little bit, and let's see how he handles that. Okay, today let's go ahead and let him, let's let him have a little easier time, get the confidence back. Again, I don't know. Some coaches may believe, no, this is what it's going to be on game day. So let's just do that until he gets to that point. I do think that the confidence thing and all that, it's an interesting balance. But of course, it's a very overplayed hand in general.
I mean, I think on that standpoint, would tend to align myself more to the, hey, let's do in practice what you're going to see in the game. And I understand confidence is part of it, and you don't want to ruin a guy's confidence. From what I've seen of Cam Ward, I think it's going to be pretty hard to ruin his confidence.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, like, I'd probably just like to see him keep throwing things at him and see if he can adjust and improve. Like, isn't that what training camp's about? Let's figure some things out here and improve.
Yeah, I think I do. I think for the most part, I agree. And I think that he's definitely tough-minded. And look, this is where, as much as it's been talked about to death at this point, this is, I think, where his path probably serves him well, right? As compared to some people who basically are just, you're great, everything's success all the way through. So, but I also, I feel like sometimes it is good for someone to see, like, to take some BP, and just, that's what it feels like to hit the ball again, when you're in a 2 for 28 stretch or whatever. I mean, there's some of that too. Do I need to get into this thing with this guy? I probably shouldn't even get into this, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just
looks like we're going to get into it.
So Don from East Franklin. Is East Franklin a thing?
No.
East Franklin. So I'm already questioning this. Now I'm looking at the numbers. Is that Big Joe's number? Nice. It's not Big Joe's number.
I mean, as
this person's not trolling me.
There is a south part of Detroit. It does exist.
Yes, we call it downriver.
It is a direction. I guess there is an East Franklin.
Okay. So anyway, he says Nashville media is easily the worst. They can't and won't ever ask the tough questions. They ask such laziest. You mean they ask such lazy and uninformed questions? Do better, especially the TV media. So part of my answer to him is, you're not accurate. Nashville media never asks us questions. It's not even close to accurate. He says, oh, BS. This city's the softest Charmin. They would rather ask what type of body wash a coach or player is using than ask you questions we care about. You're just a simp for your media friends. All right. I honestly, I'm just, look, man, we have
every time we get into this conversation, we always
stupid.
ask.
I shouldn't even have read it.
Well, I'm just saying, every time we get into this conversation, it's always like, okay, so what would you have asked? And it's like, and most of the time when they list stuff out, it's either been asked or it's so stupid that it doesn't need to be asked. I'm not saying that like the national media or any other media for that matter is anywhere near perfect, because look, there have been some press conferences that I've been a part of that in retrospect, questions that should have been asked probably didn't get asked, right? So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but by and large, people complaining about that when you ask them, okay, so what would you like to see it asked? They either don't know what they're talking about and it has been asked, or whatever they want to be asked is like, hey, so Brian, you're kind of a jackass, huh? What's that look like? Yeah, that's not going to happen in a press conference.
Why haven't you fired everyone?
Yeah. Like, it's just not going to happen at a
But
press
again,
conference.
like if you're going to use examples of body wash, yeah, there's always dumb questions. I mean, when Levis had his Mayo day, we asked questions about Mayo. It's fun. Like there are questions like that. I think for the most part, the questions about football are asked. For the most part, tough questions are asked. I've been here for a long time. The tough question, I can think of very few times when an obvious tough question, when Austin Watson happened, or when Mike Mularkey was about to be fired, or whatever, with Vrabel, who flipped out at people how many times because he got asked questions he didn't like. I mean, come on. Let's live in reality.
What are you doing with your hands, Joe?
I was right there. I was using my hands very much.
Were you asking a tough question when you were throwing your hands around at Vrabel?
I don't remember what the question was because he derailed it with the hands.
Why are you holding your hands like that?
I'm trying to get a question in here.
Well, then ask the question. No, I'm just saying, like, you look ridiculous.
See, again, the underrated part for me was, oh, you want me to put my hands down to ask a question, Mike? But nobody ever gives me credit for that.
He said no. You just look ridiculous.
Yeah. His loud voice but I thought that was a nice little dig back at him.
It was pretty good. Pretty good. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. Plus, fall camp opening up for Tennessee. And an update on the Boo Carter situation from Josh Heupel yesterday. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Join 102.5 The Game at the Holiday Inn Nashville Airport this Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. for the Dude Perfect Inspired Open House. We'll be on site giving away Dude Perfect tickets and Nashville Sounds Family 4-packs, plus games, prizes, and body armor. Again, that's coming up this Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Gino asking about the running game this year. Says, has anybody asked about how the running backs look? A running game going to be crucial for a rookie quarterback. Run blocking? Do we have any? All I've heard is O-line, D-line, quarterbacks, and wide receivers. Well, the O-line is part of the run blocking. They do the run blocking.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I guess he probably means pass blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think like Skoronski, Latham, Zeitler coming into the mix here. I think they've got a chance to be a pretty good run blocking offensive line. Pollard looks good to me. Yep. And I thought Spears, a couple times yesterday, I noticed Spears. I noticed a little bit of what people have been talking about with him. We'll see. Again, we'll see how that actually plays out on Sundays. But, yeah, I think that I think the reason that people don't talk about it much is because it's one of the very, very few parts of this team that I feel that are solid, that aren't huge concerns.
Yeah.
Most of the rest of the team is a concern of certain level, DEFCON 5 to 1. 1 being the biggest concern.
Correct.
Bringing up another rant.
What is the running game? Is it a DEFCON 5?
I don't even think it's a DEFCON at all.
No DEFCON at all?
I think there's no DEFCON on the running game.
No designation?
Yeah. The running game is high T.
Good to know they've got some high T somewhere out there.
That's right.
Good to know. Hey. Oh, man. But the videos are coming out as practice continues to go on. We'll keep you updated all show long on Titans training camp and the practices out there. Another camp opening today, Joe. The Tennessee Volunteers open up fall camp today, and they had their media day yesterday. Had a pretty long interview session with Joey Aguilar, new Tennessee quarterback, yesterday, which I watched. I was impressed with him. I have no idea if he's going to be a good quarterback or not for Tennessee, but I thought he handled the press conference pretty well, so good to see that. Josh Heupel addressing the media yesterday with a couple important updates. Number one, there's no timetable on Jermon McCoy right now. I didn't really expect Heupel to get up there and say, yeah, but Jermon McCoy is going to be back in 3 weeks, so get ready for that. So not really a surprising statement from Heupel yesterday, but Jermon McCoy, obviously an all SEC, potential All-American type of corner for Tennessee. So we'll see when and if he becomes available early in the season. And then the Boo Carter situation, which we've talked a lot about over the last week. Boo Carter is in the facility. Josh Heupel confirmed yesterday he is on the roster. He will be a part of the team moving forward, but that there are some things that he's going to have to do to get back on the field and to be a part of this culture again. Now, their practice, I guess, is getting underway right now, and Ben McKee, friend of the show, put it out there that Boo Carter is stretching, and he is out on the field dressed out. He is, according to Ben, not going to be a full participant in practice today, but that Boo Carter is dressed out going through stretches. So, we were talking with Sparks yesterday, Joe, about wondering whether or not Boo Carter's going to be there or be in the building and what's going to end up happening to that. Looks like he's on the team for now, and they have given him some benchmarks that he's going to have to hit to get back out there on the field.
Yeah, it's good to see him out there. Interesting stuff from Heupel yesterday talking about that. Some questions, and it's also great, by the way, see our guy John Adams out at media day.
He was ready to go.
Thing. Some questions about Boo's. Like what? Will they be on offense? What does he have to do, et cetera, et cetera. I think one thing Heupel did make clear is that like the players are involved in this, and I think they should be. I think this is one of those things where if you want to talk about culture, it's like, can coworkers, for lack of a better term, get along? Is there someone in the office who is such a distraction and a pain that even though this person is a high producer, it messes up, the workflow for other people and things like that? I mean, I'm going to more and more make the comparison with football teams and workplaces, because that's kind of what it is.
Yep.
And so they'll be involved in that. And obviously they weren't happy about, and they shouldn't be. If they're all going through a bunch of stuff and for whatever reason, there's different reasons that have been thrown around on the internet. I don't know what's true or what isn't with that, but if you're not taking part of that, then that's not cool. So, but the bottom line is he's there. So you figure that he's going to make amends and atone for whatever he didn't do. And the Vols need that badly because he's one of their top, I don't know, top what? 5-3 something most talented players?
Probably 3. I mean, in terms of just pure talent, I'd probably go some combination of him, McCoy, and Mike Matthews. And just in terms of just raw talent.
So
not production, but
kind
talent.
of a big deal.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. So it could have been a lot different this week. And he MIA and so that's a positive. And the QB stuff's interesting too. I mean, I think they're making it seem like a competition. I believe it though.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's, and they had all 3 of the quarterbacks speak yesterday at the media thing. So it wasn't like Aguilar got out there and then Merklinger and McIntyre didn't. They all 3 spoke yesterday at the media thing. So if I had to guess right now, I think Aguilar is probably the leader in the clubhouse. I think he's going to end up starting. We'll see what happens on that front. The Boo Carter part of this. First off, Heupel addressed it in his opening statement. And then I thought he would probably just shut down everything after that. He didn't. I mean, he started talking about he didn't go into like super detail about it. He was like, there's some things out there about the Boo Carter situation that are true and some that are not. And I'm not going to go into specific detail about that. I think I know what he's talking about there. And Sparks kind of put something out there last night. Like, I think at this point, reading between the lines, like the stuff about Boo Carter not showing up and doing what he's supposed to do is probably pretty accurate. The stuff about, oh my God, is he in legal trouble? Probably isn't. Sparks put it out there that he has looked, and he's looked at police reports all over the place. There has been no crime committed by Boo Carter. So his name has not even appeared in any police report in any capacity. So
there's been rumors too about some sort of danger. I don't, again, no idea, but that's an important thing to establish.
Yeah.
Because rumors can get rampant in situations like this. And sometimes,
especially at that place,
family members on social media platforms can make things worse.
Yeah, Heupel talked about the chemistry, and he talked about how involved I think he called him the leadership council is on the Boo Carter part of this. And he said, each situation is different. There are sometimes like when you don't meet the standard of being where you're supposed to be, sometimes you get kicked off the team for it. And he did say, like, they asked him about basically whether he was there and what his approach on the summer workouts is, like, because it's technically voluntary. And he's like, yeah, no, it's required. You need to be there. You need to be there with your teammates. So I didn't think he would go into any detail about that. He did. So I give credit to Heupel. Like, I've seen Heupel go through some press conferences where he just totally shuts everything down. And he at least talked about some of it yesterday.
The interesting thing about that too is, like, I think that's one thing in this new era. Now that it's all clear, like everybody's getting paid, the whole like, oh, these are voluntary.
You better get out there. Yeah.
Like we can stop with that charade, right? Like for decades, it's not voluntary to be in there in the summer doing the workouts. Hell no, it is officially, but it's not voluntary. Now it's like, yeah, actually, they got to be there. It's kind of reminds me of Danny Hurley. He's like, I coach my team way harder because I'm like, you see the money you're making to do this? Yeah, man, you're actually going to run another sprint if you screw that defensive assignment up again. You're getting paid a ton of money. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Some comments from Heupel on the quarterback part of this yesterday too, including one that I think is interesting. And I wonder if that affects kind of the timeline of what they're looking for here on the quarterback competition. We'll get into that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Vols in fall camp had their media day yesterday. Hypo asked about the quarterback competition, and Joe, he was essentially asked, "Hey, would you like to figure this out pretty quickly? Like, what's the kind of the timeline that you're looking for to name a starter and figure that out?" And Hypo said, "Quote, absolutely. That gives the quarterback more time to build continuity, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important for me, like I said, at media days, that somebody's got to go earn it. And it's not in one throw. It's not in one day, blah, blah, blah." I got into his Coach Beak answer after that. But, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'd sure like to figure one out pretty quick. I wonder if it ends up playing out that way. And if it doesn't end up playing out that way, is that because the competition is just so tight and everybody's playing well, or nobody's separating themselves?"
Yeah, Joey Halsley also had some interesting comments about that, obviously, and he basically said there's not a time frame. There's just a when does someone seize it situation. So, I mean, at this point, based on reading all the tea leaves, I'm not going to switch from my prediction, but I don't feel as good about it, about Merklinger just having those banked reps that are going to keep him slightly ahead of Aguilar. Aguilar.
Yep.
Why do I struggle with this? I don't know. But I don't feel. Yeah. I can do away with that until he takes the Big Ten by storm this year. But I don't feel as good about Merklinger starting as I did. But I also don't. I certainly don't discount the idea that Aguilar. Good God.
You nailed it.
Could really struggle, in camp. I mean, it's possible. Like you said, we were texting yesterday, and I saw some of his clips of his interviews. He seems very likable, like a dude who could definitely lead a football team. He's also a guy who had a pretty bad freaking year at Appalachian State last year.
Yep.
And that's why he was at UCLA, because he went to a place where they don't have a good football team. I guarantee you UCLA is paying a fraction of what USC is paying. And so, look, it's still a move up for him and an opportunity, but this much bigger opportunity only happens because of all the weird Nico stuff. So, obviously, the concern is, so no one's going to be great, and then you just have to pick someone. I also still feel good about the prediction that we're going to see multiple starting quarterbacks for Tennessee this year.
I can see that. And we're not even talking injury about that. Like, it just could be the way the flow goes out there.
That media day.
Which doesn't sound great, by the way.
No, like that media day you mentioned, they had all three of them available, which is good. I love that Tennessee does this. Not every college team does this. Credit to them. It reminds me of media day 4 years ago, right? When we had Hendon Hooker out there.
Oh, yeah.
We had Joe Melton out there. We had Harrison Bailey out there. Yeah. I think we had 5 guys. Who were the other guys?
I'm trying to remember who's still there.
Well, oh, geez. Your young brain needs to.
I know. Well, they've had so many people go in and out.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was like the guy who played the year before, and actually 2 years earlier.
Brian Maurer
was definitely one of those guys. And I think there was one more. Maybe it was just 4. But anyway, it made me think back to that. And you think back to that whole thing. Obviously, I mean, Hendon Hooker was beyond an afterthought at that point, right? Yeah. It was like, Pruitt brought him in, and this guy, why didn't he just transfer out when they brought in Milton? Milton dominated practice, clearly, and then we saw what happened. Hendon Hooker was just way better than Joe Milton. Like Hendon Hooker, and so you just look, man, maybe George McIntyre through all this just keeps getting better and better and better, and it's like, look, you're going to have maybe some more mistakes. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just saying I would keep an open mind as a Vols fan. This could go a lot of ways.
Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Bill in East Nashville. Bill, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
I appreciate it, guys. I saw 2 guys at the Titans practice the other day. I was surprised to see.
Who's that?
Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Get it? The low T bit.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Nice.
She'll like it too.
That was good.
Oh, he got us.
I totally did not connect until he said that there, but now I could see that commercial in my head. Good stuff there.
Well done. Well done.
You gonna make some low T Titans t-shirts?
Is it like
Like the opposite of the Carthon T hat.
Just put
Yeah.
low.
Hey,
just
there we
put-
go. Lowercase t.
Oh, well, right. A little tiny one.
Yeah.
Little tiny T. Little tiny T in the middle. We could do a lot with this. I mean, I feel like DJ Burnside right now is cooking something up. Like, right? Like this is, to his point earlier, dumb jokes galore. Ethan says Caden Salter. No, Caden Salter hadn't gotten there yet. It was not Caden Salter.
He's been in college for 12 years. How long Caden Salter been there?
I mean, I don't think he'd been. He was not there in 21, right? I think Caden Salter got there in 22.
I think he may have been there in 21.
Okay, now I need to just once and for all just look at the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, he got kicked off the
roster.
team in June of 2021.
Oh, okay. So he had already been
there
that's my
and
bad.
been booted.
Okay, at least so I was half right. He definitely wasn't there at media day.
Yeah,
but
that just shows you how long he's been in college, because I believe he is maybe going to be the starting quarterback for Colorado this year.
Yeah, which is interesting, and I don't know if it's a terribly exciting for Colorado fans. That might get a little rough. Okay, so yeah, Hooker, Milton. Wait, what? I guess those guys. I'm looking at the 21 roster, and those guys were already off. So Harrison Bailey. I'm completely twisted my brain.
Well, Bailey was in 2020 with Garantano.
Right, but he was still around in 21, going into 21, right? Am I crazy?
I think you may be.
Holy cow.
No, he had stats for 21.
And yet I'm looking at this roster, and he's not even listed on the roster. This is the official UT. This must be end of the season. Did he transfer mid-year?
I don't know.
Maybe?
He's 3 of 7 on the season.
I don't know. I know he's getting some reps right now at Florida. He's the backup at Florida right now.
Hooker,
DJ Lagway.
Milton,
he may have to play early.
Bailey, and Gaston Moore.
Yeah, Gaston Moore. Yeah, that's the guy from UCF, the walk-on who
Gas pipe.
That's right, gas pipe, baby. Yeah, Harrison Bailey. How about that? DJ Lagway. That is one of the early stories in college football. He can't stay healthy. There's a huge amount of excitement, buzz, pressure, and he is banged up again. He had a shoulder now. Is it a hammy now?
Yep.
So he'll probably be fine, but that stuff can linger. So we may see some Harrison Bailey
versus the Vols.
Way
later in the year.
That's true.
So.
At that point, who knows? But we may see some Harrison Bailey quarterbacking some Gators at some point this year.
By the way, he transferred in October of 2021.
Okay, so there you go. So that one. Oh, so he was at media day. I'm not crazy. Mar was at media day.
Yeah.
Hooker, Milton. I do think there was somebody else. The other guy who also transferred out. Yes, Devin from Dover. You've done it. JT Shrout. Yes.
Shrout.
There we go. Those are the 5 guys. Think about that at that media day.
Good Lord.
JT Shrout. Man, that's a huge pull, Devin from Dover. I owe you big time.
Didn't JT Shrout at Arkansas State with Butch now? Or he was at Arkansas State.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he's still in college.
It kind of makes it fun, right? Like you can do a lot of trivia.
You can.
Are we going to we got to play that game again this year?
We do. Where's this quarterback now?
Where is this quarterback now? That's right. That'll get the tee up.
That's gonna do it for us today on the program. Jason Big Joe is up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.